So two power sources for this vehicle. We will be using either electricity from the battery down here, or gas from the gas tank up here, or some constantly optimized blend of the two. Look at all the stuff we can customize up here from that central screen. I'm Justin Pritchard, and those are some of the things we'll be learning about in this video. On the outside, the Cayenne e-Hybrid Coupe is a luxury performance SUV. Dig a little deeper, and it's also a technological toolkit stocked with some of Porsche's latest electrified performance technologies. My Tester was fitted with a cool $50,000 in optional equipment, including $3,590 worth of optional carmine red paint that glistens in the sun like melted lipstick. The Cayenne e-Hybrid Coupe is highly customizable, which is exactly what its shopper wants. This is just one version of the Cayenne, which comes with two body styles and a total of 19 possible configurations that can be fully tailored to the shopper's tastes. When those tastes favor an efficient and engaging high-performance driving experience and plenty of driver-controlled tech that shapes the drive on the fly, a unit like this one has you covered. Basically, you get 4 cars in one, and you can switch between each with a little flick of a toonie-sized dial on the steering wheel. Turn the key to start the engine, but not really, and the default setting is E for e-Power mode. Here, an electric motor that lives inside of the transmission does the work of driving the Cayenne entirely on its own. It's fed from a battery pack that's recharged on external power, with enough juice on a full charge to drive about 50 kilometers entirely on stored electricity with no gasoline required. So gasoline in here, and electricity goes in here on the other side, and we start the engine down here on the left, but not really, because of course this is a hybrid, so we're good to drive right now, but we're doing 0 RPM, because of course the default setting when you fire this up is e-Power mode, which we can see from that little letter E down here. So two power sources for this vehicle, a battery full of electricity, we can see the gauge for that down here, we're down pretty low, just 2 of those segments remaining, and a fuel gauge up here on top, a little over half of a tank. Of course, in a hybrid like this one, depending on the drive mode that we're using and the settings that we've got engaged, we will be using either electricity from the battery down here, or gas from the gas tank up here, or some constantly optimized blend of the two. We control that all with this dial right here. So e-Power mode, that's E. H for hybrid auto. S for sport, we'll hear the engine fire up here. Now we've got some RPM going on, because of course in sport mode, we need the engine to be running for maximum performance. And if you want really maximum performance, it's Sport Plus mode here. And that gets things riled up even further. Those settings are always referenced up here in the display. So e-Power, hybrid, sport, and sport plus. Just rotating the dial. And we can see the corresponding drive mode up here on the instrument cluster. And that's not even the end of it. Look at all the stuff we can customize up here from that central screen. The drive mode, the chassis mode, the chassis height, terrain, high, regular, or low, sports exhaust system, do we want this to be loud or quieter, or extend that rear spoiler, electronic gear shifter, pull back for drive, push forward for reverse, push that for park, of course push button access to common functions. If we want to stiffen up the suspension, we just click that. And a fully customizable digital instrument cluster. You can see I'm just rolling this little dial on the steering wheel to change the corresponding information up on the screen there. I like the energy flow meter, and on this side, same thing for that left-hand segment in the instrument cluster over there on that side. Recharging takes a few hours in your driveway, but it's never mandatory. If there's gas in the tank, you're good to go. But the more you plug in, the more gas-free driving you can do in the Cayenne e-Hybrid's e-Power mode. In this mode, a visual coach in the instrument cluster helps drivers to visualize their throttle inputs to maximize electric driving efficiency. Look closely and you'll even see the transmission shifting gears while the tachometer reads 0 RPM, since the electric motor drives the transmission and ultimately all 4 wheels, even with the engine at rest. Of course, with the turbocharged 3-liter V6 offline, e-Power mode is ideal for leisurely and light-footed driving, since the full 455 horsepower and 516 pounds of torque are not available from the electric motor alone. Once you've used up your 45 or 50 kilometers of e-power driving range, the powertrain switches into the next mode on the dial, H for Hybrid Auto. Here, the gas engine and electric system team up and hybrid driving continues. The process is automatic and seamless with no need for the driver to do anything. Hybrid Auto is good for all-purpose driving, where captivating displays in the instrument cluster allow you to monitor the currently deployed blend of electricity and combustion power that's doing the work of driving the car. Frequently, you'll see the engine revs drop smoothly to zero, a sign that the electric motor is working so the gas engine doesn't have to. With the Cayenne's e-hybrid tech, shorter trips stop using any fuel, and longer ones become more fuel efficient. All the while, clever on-screen infographics and racy LED indicators for the electric system's power and charge functions embedded within the tachometer provide curious drivers a window into the goings-on within the hybrid system beneath. There are further benefits which become more apparent in the two remaining drive modes. There's S for Sport, a setting for the enthusiast who wants to hear more of the engine and use the electric motor as a power adder more than a fuel saver. In Sport mode, the Cayenne's reflexes sharpen up, the steering gets heavier and faster, the suspension keeps the body sprung more tightly against its wheels, and the 3-liter V6 blurts to life with a quivering hum the moment this mode is engaged. Now the otherwise peaceful Cayenne is riled up a little, more responsive and more dramatic. The auto-stop system is disabled as well, ensuring both gas and electric power are working in sync for fast starts off the line. Though the howling soundtrack and response in Sport mode are addicting, the handling characteristics prompted my biggest smiles, especially on winding stretches of narrow, 2-lane northern highways with narrow shoulders, where the sharpened reflexes make it virtually effortless to place the Cayenne precisely within its lane, using little more than a few millimeters of wrist movement on the steering wheel. The electric motor's ability to torque fill the lower parts of the rev range translate into an even more point-and-shoot feel while passing and merging too. Beneath specialized technologies further fine-tune the ride, my tester's Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control, or PDDC system, uses active roll stabilization, which virtually eliminates the tendency of this SUV to roll in corners. It also helps keep its wheels in better contact with bumpy roads for a precise handling feel that stands up well to rough surfaces. The Porsche Active Suspension Management, or PASM system, takes similar control over the Cayenne's dampers. It allows them to read and respond to the road while triggering a continual stream of adjustments to each wheel that work to keep the body more stable, virtually eliminate bouncing, and again deliver more consistent ride comfort on a wider range of surfaces. On 22-inch wheels like these, caution is strongly advised on rougher roads where tire and suspension noise can become an issue, and where you're best advised to place your wheels and tires very carefully in proximity to potholes. You've got numerous better choices for ride comfort and rough road noise levels than a Cayenne like my tester, but given its reflexes, I still expected a noisier, rougher ride on the worst roads I drive on. It's Sport Plus mode where the full capability of the Cayenne e-hybrid's driveline comes into action. With all systems configured for maximum performance, off-the-line starts are met with an abrupt slam into your seat as the electric motor torques the Cayenne out of the hole, boosting the V6 both before and while its turbocharger is kicked in. In this mode, there's more feedback from the driveline too. Gear shifts are harder, the launch is more startling and abrupt. From outside, if you're listening very closely, you can hear the whirring sound of the electric motor overlapping the howl from the quad pipe exhaust out back at full throttle. The handling feel is exceptional, let alone for a taller, heavier vehicle like this one. The Cayenne's steering is sports car quick and precise, the damping and handling and suspension feel dialed right in. And with both bouncing and body roll electronically cancelled out of the drive, that partial electric on-demand torque is just the icing on the cake. The Cayenne Coupe responds spiritedly when drivers use throttle or brakes to steer the vehicle, and shoppers upsizing to a model like my tester from a smaller Porsche sports car will likely feel very familiar in their surroundings. So flood the cabin with electrified V6 sports exhaust music while taking in some kick-in-the-pants upshifts, or flick the dial into e-power mode for a noiseless, all-electric drive. This performance is as loud or quiet as you like. Still, there's one thing missing: brake pedal feel. In a hybrid, the brakes work differently than in a regular car, so sometimes they feel different too, specifically more numb and less precise. Usually in a Porsche, I expect brakes that feel hair trigger but easy to modulate and work smoothly. In the Cayenne e-hybrid coupe, I wish for a more positive and precise feel at the top of the pedal's travel, even if stopping power itself is mighty. Compared to the immediate and precise responses from the steering and throttle in the Cayenne's sportiest drive modes, I was expecting a more direct feel from the brakes. Elsewhere on board, the Cayenne Coupe's unique roof creates a coupe-like interior feel that's more intimate, but also harder to see out of. On a few occasions while boarding and exiting with a ball cap on, I wished for a touch more headroom too. Inside, glistening control surfaces and high-end displays flank the center-mounted analog tachometer, itself facing a set of houndstooth-trimmed seats. No other SUV has an interior quite like a Porsche Cayenne. Elegant, tidy, upscale, and fitted with a gloss black, touch-activated center console that's home to dozens of functions, each coming to life with an audible click on the flat surface. Look right up close here for a look at the graphics on the central infotainment system. Nice widescreen to this one. I'm using Android Auto. It has been working flawlessly for the past week or so, and I like this widescreen look to it. A lot of times when a system has a widescreen like that, you've got Android Auto sort of on half, something else on the other. In this case, they're using the entire screen for Android Auto. I think that looks really good. The cargo area loses a bit of space to the charge cord, but is otherwise flat, wide, and generous, with folding seats just ahead opening things up as required. Controls in the cargo area allow the Cayenne to lift and lower its body at the touch of a button, easing the loading and unloading of gear and canines. Now, you don't usually get to see how the headlights on the new vehicle you buy perform until after you've paid for it, brought it home, and gone for your first nighttime drive. So let me show you some footage of the headlights in action on this particular tester so that you've got a better idea of what to expect driving after dark. Don't miss the signature neon green e-hybrid logos with their eye-popping color repeated in the giant brake calipers to grab attention and signal this machine's hybrid-powered identity to those in the know. Shoppers considering the roughly $151,000 ask for a decked-out tester like mine have a lot of compelling options to consider for their luxury SUV dollar. And while shoppers traveling frequently over rough road surfaces do have better options, those looking for an electrified, high-efficiency drive with reflexes, handling, and road feel as absolute priorities should find a solid return on their investment. Thank you for watching. My name's Justin Pritchard. Don't forget to hit that like button down below if you learned something new. And until next time, take care and drive safe.